For more, let's bring in TalkTV royal editor Sarah Hewson. Sarah, thanks for joining us. It really was great to see the King out and about, of course, as he receives his cancer treatment. Was this a surprise appearance by the monarch?
Great to see you, Danica. Buckingham Palace had in fact announced the King's appearance at the Easter Sunday service about a week in advance. We didn't know whether that was going to happen or not. It was all dependent on doctors' advice, but I think it's an encouraging sign and cautious first steps towards him making some kind of return to public life. Of course, he's been carrying on his duties, but very much behind closed doors. The only glimpses we've got of him are photographs, maybe the odd video, or him in a car. But to see him out and about yesterday, joining members of the family at St George's Chapel in Windsor was a really positive sign.
Absolutely, and he looked to be smiling. He looked very happy. And Sarah, he even ventured into the crowd to greet the well-wishers.
Yeah, and that was more of a surprise, Danica, because he's been so protected and kept away from members of the public while he's going through his cancer treatment, because, of course, it has an impact on your immune system. But yesterday, you could see how happy he was to be out and about, greeting the crowds, shaking hands with those members of the public who were asking him how he was doing. They told him to get well soon. He said, I'm doing my best. My favourite encounter came with one lady who told him that Camilla was now 17. And when the King looked a bit bemused, she pointed down to her pet dog, a King Charles, Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And he said, well, you're going to have to get a new one soon, aren't you? And you could just see the fact that he was so relieved to be back doing the things that he enjoys most. And that old adage from the late Queen, you have to be seen to be believed, that was very much in line with that yesterday.
Good to see that sense of humour has not gone away. Now, Sarah, there were plenty of royals in attendance, but there were some notable absences, of course, one of them being Princess Catherine as she undergoes treatment for cancer herself.
Yes, and when Kate had announced that she had been diagnosed with cancer, it was made clear by Kensington Palace that the Wales family would be heading away for the Easter break to their home in Norfolk, and they would not be joining the rest of the royal family for the traditional Easter Sunday service. And what we saw yesterday was kind of Easter light, a very much smaller gathering than normal. This, apart from Christmas, is one of the most significant moments for the royal family to get together at Windsor. And actually, we saw a smaller group of them. And we understand that because the King is trying to keep away from too many people, there wasn't the same big family lunch or big family gathering afterwards. But nonetheless, really, really good to see him back out and about. And I think the plan now is, subject to his health, we will start to see him taking part, particularly in the summer months, in some more public events. The commemoration of D-Day, for example, perhaps his birthday parade, Trooping the Colour. And of course, Danica, looking ahead to the autumn where he's due to be visiting Australia.
Well, just on that, Sarah, what's the likelihood, do you think, of him still coming down under as planned later this year?
Well, Buckingham Palace not confirming anything at this stage. It is very much dependent on medical advice. But as I said, they are starting to put tentative plans in place. And the signs we're seeing is that the treatment appears to be going well. The fact that his doctors allowed him out yesterday was a really good indication, I think. If he can get to Australia and if his doctors allow it, then I am certain that he will want to be doing that. He's got the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, of course, as well. Before that, we know that he's desperate to get back to public life, frustrated that it's taking him a bit longer than he would have hoped. Just 17 months into his reign, it's been a really cruel blow. But if he can be there, I am certain that he will be.
Yeah, look, fingers crossed. To see the King back out again, of course, he's been diagnosed with cancer. Princess Catherine's being diagnosed with cancer. We know, Sarah, there's been a lot of people saying, well, is the monarchy in crisis? Are they going to survive this? But how important was it for him to be seen again, once again in public, to put those rumours to bed?
Hugely important. And to see the return of the royal walkout was really significant, something that was started by his mother, the late Queen. But if you remember back to the days after the Queen had died, that very first return by King Charles to Buckingham Palace, and he and Queen Camilla stopped the car and they did a walkabout with the crowds. It was the first time that he'd heard God Save the King sung out to him. He was very moved by that. And he is buoyed by the public engagements and interactions that he gets. It is certainly something that he tries to do on all of his engagements. So to be cooped up behind closed doors and only having these very small meetings, the audience with the Prime Minister, for example, a couple of meetings, he had 5 people into Buckingham Palace last week for a meeting. But other than that, he really has been kept away from the public. And those are the kind of things that matter most, to be amongst his people, to be hearing from them, to be seeing them, and to be seen.
Yeah, it's incredible.